All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. Committee Member Wheaton.
Present.
Thank you. Committee Member Eric.
Present.
Thank you. Committee Member Lumiere. Got hands up. Thank you. Committee Member Reynolds.
Here.
Thank you. Committee Member Schwab.
Here.
Committee Member Brown. Don't see him here this evening. Committee Member Barney. Don't see him here yet either. Committee Member Castillo. Committee Member Rizzo.
Here.
Thank you. Committee Member Hinshaw.
Here.
Thanks. And Chair Knight.
Present.
Great, thank you. And we have quorum.
Okay, let's get to the exciting stuff here. And it looks like we have Chris Barney just popped on for transcriptionist. Okay, so let's go right back into these minutes. We have the November one and then the last month as well. If you recall, we had Paul Wilcox's comments via the email that we wanted to add in there. And then the other one I think we needed to do was there's one more, I thought.
Yeah, so yeah, I highlighted two different sections on pages 1 and 2. Those are the comments that Paul wanted included. And then the other item we were checking was towards the bottom. Let's see. Yeah, on page 13, it's highlighted. There was some percentages that we were unclear about. I'm not sure if these add up, but these were pretty clearly the numbers that I heard that the speaker said. So yeah.
Okay. Any comments on any of that, you guys? Are we good with those additions? If so, then we will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended, and then a second, and then we can vote.
I move that we accept the November 4th minutes as amended. And this is Victoria Rizzo.
This is Shelley. I'll second that motion.
Okay. Let's go ahead and call for the vote then. All in favor of approving the November minutes as amended, say aye or raise the hand.
Aye.
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 Is there any opposition?
Aye.
Sorry, was that an opposition, Alexander, or a? Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. Let's go ahead and move to the January minutes. And it looks like John Brown has joined us. Welcome, John. Any comments at all on the January minutes? Any corrections, comments? Okay. Scrolling through here, I don't see any hands raised immediately. I thought it looked pretty good. It was a pretty simple meeting, and she did a great job. Melissa did a great job putting that together for us. If there's no comments, then we'll kind of do the same thing with those November ones. So somebody wants to call, and then the second, and then we'll go to vote.
I move that we accept the January minutes as written. And this is Victoria again.
Alexander, I second.
Okay, all in favor, let's raise the hand and let's give
Aye.
Amber a second to record the vote there.
Aye.
And is there any opposition at all? Please raise the hand. Okay,
Aye. Aye.
Chris, did you have something that we wanted to change?
Well, nothing in particular, I suppose. I don't
Okay,
know. I have trouble with that one.
okay, all right. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 3, which is discussion items. And maybe Chris, you and I could chat afterwards and whatnot. But let's go to A, CAC website updates.
All right, and I can get started with that. So first, I'll just put a warning out there. If you hear any barking or squeaky toys or my boyfriend talking to a dog in the background, I got a new puppy a couple weeks ago. So yeah, she might make some sounds, but hopefully she'll be relatively quiet while I'm unmuted. Yeah, so the CAC website update. So after our meeting last month, I met up with Kevin, who works on our website. He's like our web administrator, and I talked with him about what you guys were looking at, the draft you all had put together, and what might be possible. And largely, the changes you're looking for are pretty doable on the website. We are still in the process of reviewing the content to make sure there's not any conflicts of any kind with like what the city can put on its website. So we're still in the process of getting all of that together. But I can share just a couple of the mock-up pages that Kevin had put together so far. They're not like crazy exciting yet because they don't have all the awesome content that you guys put together, but they're getting there. So let's see. Let me know if you guys are seeing what looks like a draft website page. Seeing head nods, awesome. Okay, yeah, so he started putting together the different project pages. If you see like kind of this faint red square in the background where it says unpublished, that's because these are on the website, but they're not published yet. So if you try to find them, they're not there yet since we have to confirm the content. But yeah, as you'll see, I'll kind of scroll down. It's just the text that you all had in the draft, so we haven't made any changes to it yet. But just so you can get an idea of what the pages will look like when they're actually in on the website. Yeah, they're all pretty similar, but. Yeah, so we're working on that. Hopefully we will be able to get that content reviewed soon so that we can have that up and get another update to you all. In the meantime, if you do have any pictures that you want included somewhere on it, feel free to send them my way. That way I can get them all bundled together and send them to Kevin in one fell swoop, and he's not getting a ton of emails or anything. And there had also been a page where you all had potentially like little pictures of yourself. So if you want one of those, feel free to send me one of those pictures as well. So does anybody have any questions about the website updates? Any other suggestions, anything like that?
Is there a particular time you need those pictures by?
No, whenever you can send them. I mean, it's still definitely a work in progress. So we'll be continuously working on it as we get all the content ready.
Do we have a copy of the information on that from those pages? Is that in our past minutes or?
Yeah, so it should have been in the packet for last month and potentially the packet for November too. I know it's been up at a couple meetings. So if you can't find it in your email, the packets are also available on the city website.
In terms of our personal photos, does the city have any guidance on how to make a good one? I mean, backgrounds, like should it be a headshot?
That's a really good question. I can, I guess, ask Kevin if there's, a particular type of photo that works better. I think it will end up being pretty small. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I can see if there's any particular guidelines. I'm not aware of any, but I can check on that.
And maybe it's not important, but just something to think about.
Would you prefer a picture of pre-pandemic hair or current? No, serious question though. Would you? Is there going to be a landing page where the different? Oh, did you read this one? Oh, there you are. Sorry, you moved from the screen. Will there still be the landing page where people can go between the different? Okay.
Yeah. So this isn't all of the draft pages yet. These were just the ones that he had come up with so far. So yeah, there will still definitely be a landing page. Otherwise, I can see how that'd be kind of confusing to have all just these pages floating around.
Gotcha. And still potentially a page where people can access previous minutes.
Yeah, so with that one, it turns out, and I didn't even know this, there's a way to search on the city website to see all of those. It has like the meeting and the minutes and the packet and everything, I believe. So I think he'll be creating that page and putting a link to that search since it's already on the website somewhere.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other awesome pictures from the before times that they can add?
I'm thinking possibly Diane might, and so I'm gonna reach out to her. She's in Texas right now, so she might pop on a little bit later if she can. But I'm gonna get a hold of her and see. I know that I believe she was taking some pictures of the Summerfest and whatnot, and it's possible maybe Community Development Department has some pictures from that Summerfest. We did that too, because I know they had a booth for I think it was the urban renewal area or the confluence. Sorry.
I
So we
remember
may-
that you guys handed out candy the year before I joined. It'd be on Halloween. I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
has any pictures.
I think Diane probably would, possibly Victoria, but I'm not hearing her say anything.
Diane took them on Halloween. I don't know anybody that took them at Summerfest for sure. And I only have some of the garden. That's all
Yeah.
I have.
Well, what about the garden, Victoria? Is that something we could have pictures of, or
Sure.
is that not?
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I can-
Or even maybe this summer we go, or if somebody has pictures of with it nice and full and growing vegetables and blooming stuff, that'd be
Yeah,
good one to
I'll
take
look
maybe
at
this
what
spring.
pictures I'll look at what pictures I have. But yeah, you're right. It looks better when it's blooming.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Any other comments or questions regarding the CAC website updates?
Hey, John, do you have any good pictures of the food distribution at the high school? No. Kind of private. I mean, you don't really want to show people's faces, but I thought maybe you could show the boxes or something.
I can take pictures of the boxes and the stuff coming in, but I really can't take pictures of people coming up.
Yeah.
You want me to do that? I'll do that. It's gonna be another month, but now we're doing it the last Tuesday every month. But I can write myself a note and I can do that for you guys.
That'd be awesome.
We could
All
have
right, thank you.
we could have pictures of those who distribute, couldn't we?
I can ask them. Most of the guys I'll ask them. I'm pretty sure they'll say that's fine. But I'll ask them first. I know,
6 years after a comprehensive peace agreement, this African country came to be. Nicole.
We listen to Jeopardy?
The newest country in Africa, yes. Atlas Alliteration 1600.
Jeopardy's on.
I wanted to
Okay.
hear the last of that question. Maybe I could try to answer it. Kind of fun.
Okay, let's go ahead and scoot on to B, which is the rent burden survey data.
Yeah, so and this might be a little bit shorter than anticipated. So as you all remember, we had our rent burden meeting in December. Prior to that, we had put out the survey for that. We promoted on social media, on the website. We sent out the postcards to multifamily units in the city of Troutdale, and we're really hoping to get a lot of responses. Unfortunately, we only got 11. Which is kind of a bummer. We were hoping to, be able to provide like really useful statistical analysis and feedback, but with only 11 responses, we can't really do that. It's not going to be an accurate reflection of data that we can really stand behind. So I was anticipating having a big presentation on that, but given the amount of responses, unfortunately, won't be able to have that. But what we can have is kind of a conversation about how to improve that in the future. So one thing we're thinking about doing is hosting the annual rent burden meeting in August instead of in December. We think that could get a lot more turnout. You know, people aren't busy with the holidays, and maybe if it's less COVID world and we're able to gather, it'll be nice and warm and people will want to be out and about. So we think that could be better and potentially also give us more time to prepare. So what we're really looking for from you all is ways for us to do better. How can we have better engagement? What ideas do you all have? What type of outreach? How do we engage everyone in the community and not just kind of the people in the circle who already know about the meetings and that sort of thing? So I don't know if you have thoughts on it now. It's certainly something we can continue to talk about since we have until potentially August till we have the meeting again. But I thought now would be a good time kind of while it's fresh on our minds to think about what we all can do, what the city can do, what the CAC can do to really be able to get more engagement in this since it's a really important topic and something that's going to keep happening every year. So any thoughts?
Alexander, go ahead.
Yes, I like the idea of August, and then throw free pizza at people that usually they'll come, and have it outside, even if we're a little less COVID. I like that you said if it's less COVID. I might just use that.
The other words would come to me, but thank you.
I might use COVID. If it's a little less COVID, just have it outside, have people get together, and the byproduct of that would be that people would get together.
I believe I saw Tim's hand.
Yeah, thanks. I overheard a conversation this last week of owner of rental unit kind of complaining that people who had funds available could make their payments just fine. We're using the COVID situation to just not pay and be freeloaders. And so I'm just wondering, would it be possible, accurate to contact property managers or owners and, or do we have access to the kind of information that they might be able to provide about how many people are asking for deferments? I don't know if that'd be a good source or not. Any thoughts?
Yeah, and I will say we do, it is open to anyone, so it's totally open for, landlords, property owners, property managers to attend as well. And I think the first year we hosted the meeting, there were more of people who fell into that group present. And if I recall correctly, I believe we did actually reach out to property owners of like the larger apartment complexes to the meeting. I think they just didn't end up coming. But as far as kind of the other data you're looking for, I'm not sure. But we certainly do extend that invitation.
Yeah, good question there. I want to say the first year we did it was right around the time that it was the state or city of Portland was going to cap rental increases, and then they put in the things about the no fault evictions or whatnot. And I think that kind of was stirring the pot a little bit with the landlord situation and created some of those people wanted to be interested. I want to say traditionally we've had really low turnout for the survey. I want to say even with the information that was presented before, there was very few people that have ever done it, which is quite interesting. It does raise some questions about how important it is to people, or maybe we're just not getting the word out. But if we're doing social media, multiple aspects, sending letters and postcards, hopefully multilingual to these properties, and nobody's doing it, I don't know, it's baffling to me. Heidi.
So the website is not multilingual. That's a really good point. I just found it, and I believe that I forgot to do it. So if I was in the meeting and I forgot to do it, that's pretty bad. So I apologize. But so having it multilingual is going to help. Amber, do you know if the materials that were sent to people were multilingual?
I don't think the postcards we sent out were not. I'm trying to remember if we made the survey multilingual. I think it was at least talked about if we didn't end up doing that, but I can look into that. But if not, that's certainly a good suggestion for it to be in the future.
I don't remember from reading the housing needs analysis if our rent burden statistics are disaggregated by race or language group. Do we know that?
I don't know off the top of my head. I do remember that it was noted in the housing needs analysis data that the proportion of people of Latinx populations in Troutdale is increasing. So that is definitely an important segment of the population to make sure that they know about this. But yeah, I don't know off the top of my head if the data is broken down that way.
But in terms of at least having the major language groups represented, that would be, at least having it in Spanish would be important. Does anybody else have their hand up? So, and then the other thing that I'm thinking is, why would, I mean, this is kind of to Alexander's point, like bringing pizza, like, why would people do this? Like, how are we telling people that this is important, like worth their time? Like, and I'm not saying this in a critical way. Like, I want people to do it. I think communicating why they should do it is maybe very important, and that what outcomes of their spending their time doing it there will be. And I'm just looking at what's on the website right here, and I don't, other than saying like share your story, like some people are gonna like that's gonna appeal to them, and some people are gonna be like, why would I tell you my story about my hard time? So that's one thought.
Hey, David.
Well, I'm a little nervous about jumping in here, but since the question was asked, what are barriers to people being involved? I'm going to throw out 3 or 4. One, I think it's a boring subject. It's dry as dirt. And for people who aren't in the meetings, following up on what Heidi said, that this is a complicated issue. And I have a hard time understanding it. And so I don't think people understand how they fit into the big picture. And what they have to do with anything. And if they do understand it, and I guess my third point is I'm not sure they trust the city to manage that information. So I think there's a lack of trust. And particularly on one particular point, it has to do with their privacy issues. And what's the city going to do with that information? I think there are a lot of barriers to people participating, but I think those are some biggies.
I totally agree, David. Thank you for saying that.
Okay.
Kyle.
I will also dovetail off of that. We talked about this at however long ago it was when we did the livability survey. There's always that so what, like, why am I doing this? What is this information going to be used for? Is it going to be reported back to me? Am I making a difference in some greater issue by giving you my information? And by repeating the survey year after year after year, I can't even answer that question. Like, I don't know what this is going to. Are we checking a box for the state? Is this actually being put to good use somewhere? So without that level of buy-in for people, I don't, why are they taking a survey? Like you both were saying, Heidi and David, why take the survey if we're not going to, it's not going anywhere to anything. Initially I was thinking August. I don't know about August, but after thinking about it more, I was like, actually, that's not a bad idea. I was initially thinking that August was you know, at least in my experience, a lot of people are out of town in August, and who's showing up to anything. It's like the last month before the last hurrah for people to go out and have fun before the fall starts. But you know, an evening event, you're asking people to come who are potentially rent burdened. I'm thinking the first thing that pops in my mind is childcare. You know, who's coming at 7 o'clock to, if they got kids at home, can they bring their kids to these meetings? Is there childcare available? Can kids just be there? And then as for the survey itself, I mean, if we want to get, if you're dead set on doing it and you need numbers, I mean, we had a great turnout of survey when we tacked it on to an existing event, Summerfest. And if there were previous events in May, June, and July, that if the city was willing to stretch the collection period over the course of 3 months, you have someone stationed at an event in May, and then in June, and then in July, and then present the results at the August meeting. And maybe that might be some additional buy-in for people to come in and see what's going on in your community. In addition to hearing more about rent burdens and the issue of rent burnedness. That's not a word, but you know what I mean, in Troutdale. So anyway, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Again, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, I'm hoping that towards the summer we're going to be back open and doing stuff. Things like Summerfest and all that can kind of start happening. We can kind of do that sort of stuff again. You know, we'll see how everybody feels, but my first thought was like having a kiosk and a tablet and sort of thing, or even if we did the whole pen and paper like we did before, and you know, sanitize everything or whatnot. But you know, getting that where people are walking through, and even if you know, it's of course, like your David was saying, the privacy and whatnot, you'd have to figure out how to do that. But hey, if you do this, you could enter to win with this little red ticket, put it in over here. You could enter, and even if it's, are you a renter or not at the beginning? No, I'm not a renter. Okay, thanks for taking the survey. Here you go. There'd be a way to maybe to spur a little bit more participation and have it surrounding a fun event as far as taking the survey and whatnot goes. As far as the 7 o'clock at night for the rent burden meeting, yeah, there's some challenges there to get people to actually show up and do it. So, Heidi.
So to your point about, what are we measuring mortgage burden?
It's the rent burden meeting is focused on rent burden specifically per the state, and that's what we're looking for. So I don't think the survey asked about mortgage burdens, but the survey does have options. Like, you don't have to be a renter to take it. There's other categories that people can fall into, and they'll still answer questions. They're just different questions.
I was just thinking about with people's income being so impacted by this past year. I know a lot of people are struggling to pay their mortgages. So that might be something to add because specifically of the COVID situation.
So if I remember correctly from when I went in and tried to take the survey, it's, are you a renter? Are you questions for that? Are you a landlord? No. And if you're no, then the survey is over. There's nothing to do. So they don't, I'm pretty sure they just ask for renters and then landlords.
I think there should also be an option for like community member / concerned citizen. I think that's one, and there might be a fourth. So I think there should be more than just the two options, but
and
yeah.
I'd have to go back and do it, but I believe that, you know, if you're in that third option, it's like, here's a text box, write something about this.
Got it.
That's a burden right there.
Yeah,
Hey.
I clicked the third option. So sadly, 2 of your 11 are in this meeting, at least. But yeah, it was done pretty quickly.
Okay.
Hey, Amber, I found a typo on the electronic consent page.
Oh no. Okay, I'll write that down.
You'll see it. It's
Any other comment? Oh, Tim, go ahead.
Well, this is completely unrelated, but that's okay. The typos are okay. Yesterday, I was showing a video on Black History Month to my students, just made by ABC News, Good Morning America. And halfway through the video, they say why February has been chosen and such. And they give birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, but they had them switched. And so the class did a little research, and I emailed Good Morning America and said, hey, you might want to switch this up before it goes out anymore. But anyhow, things happen. We all learn.
I mean, I
Okay,
really
thank you.
appreciate you reaching out to us to ask for feedback on this. I mean, this is the first time I felt useful.
Well, yeah, I mean, because this is, I mean, you guys are the CAC, right? You're supposed to, be in touch with the community. And so we want to engage with you all as well to help us figure out how best to reach people on this. And one other thing I'll mention is we don't have to necessarily do the meeting the same way every time. I think the past few years, we've pretty much done a presentation and discussion, but it could be broader, as long as we address what the state needs us to address, there's other options. So one thing we've been thinking about is inviting different speakers to come talk, like potentially speakers that are involved in the affordable housing community. And so I was wondering on what you all thought about that, or different ideas or formats for what else we could do at the meeting.
Does the state seem to care that no one is replying to these surveys? I mean, is it just a matter of we did it and then?
So the survey actually isn't required by the state. That's something we do to try to know better about what's happening in Troutdale, and since we did do it in 2018 to try to see how things are changing potentially. But yeah, the survey isn't required by the state.
So say you were to get a large number of replies, or you were to have gotten a large number of replies from this last survey, what would have happened?
Like what we have done with the data, or?
Yeah.
I mean, it would inform our work. I mean, the first meeting that, granted, I wasn't working for the city yet, so I wasn't there, but kind of what came out of that meeting was moving forward with the housing needs analysis. So I think it can just further give us better data to work on, and to, it's important for the decision makers to know what's going on in the city too. So if it's, city council or planning commission or you all knowing that information, I mean, it can drive policy. So that's, I think, really why we want to know what's going on. So we can potentially move towards what needs to be done.
I think that's what's missing in the communication of the survey, is that we're not saying that, I mean, yes, it is still, even with that communicated, it is still a fairly dry subject, but at the very least, people can have some, cognition of like the results of this survey were used in the creation of policy A, or, the CAC did this as a result, or contributed to blah, blah, blah as a result of. I mean, it gives it, some life at the very least, instead of just another survey where we might as well be, a telecommunications company. Not to disparage anyone in the telecommunications industry.
I will note, so I just took the survey. There's your 13th respondent. But I appreciate that it doesn't ask for any contact information. And I think that's important. I wonder how how would you know if people took it more than once? Or it's honor system?
I'm not sure if there's like something that keeps like the same IP address from sending another one or something. I have no idea if that's set up or not. Yeah, I'm not sure the answer to that.
Try to take it again, Heidi.
You could test it, I guess. Yeah.
On it. I love me some surveys.
I think we're having trouble getting people to take it the first time. How are we going to get them to take it the second?
That too, yeah.
I mean, like I was saying, it really helps when you had, those of us in person, like, hey, come take this survey while your kids are playing with these toys. And there's also some other event information and literature about not only the CAC, but of the other city committees. I mean, it was I mean, you know, it was, I think we had 150 total, which still is not, you know, a super high number, but I mean, you know, 150 versus 13, possibly soon 14, depending if Heidi can get the, can get the other one through.
Okay, any other thoughts or comments? All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to C, financial literacy and the city budget.
Can I say one more thing?
Mhm.
I would love to help you plan the August meeting if you need help.
Thanks, Heidi.
Okay, financial literacy and the city budget. I think maybe Amber has something. I think Kyle and David and Tim might have some more.
Yeah, so Kyle, I believe this was an item that you had suggested for the agenda. So I don't have anything prepared for it, so I'll let you all take it away.
Well, I'll just quickly set up and then I'll speak last and let David and Tim go first. David and Tim and I had an offline conversation a couple of weeks ago after our last meeting where we just kind of kept talking about where our last meeting left off when we were doing committee comments, and there was some suggestions thrown out about ways we could engage, whether it's the council or the budget committee or whatnot. So the three of us just continued that discussion with just the three of us, and we wanted to report back to you all on what we talked about for the time we were together. I don't remember how long we were together. So we all kind of had different ideas and perspectives, and so I don't know, David or Tim, if either of you want to go first, and I'll finish it off.
Well, let me take a shot at it. Following the meeting, I just made some notes as to roughly what we discussed and kind of synthesized the discussion into very brief comments. And I guess I want to start out by the fact that one of the things that we discovered is that when there's fewer people on online, people tend to be less formal, and at least for me, I talk more. So that may not have been a good thing. So the discussion, as I saw it, was involved at what point can the Citizens Advisory Committee have an impact on the financial wellness of the citizens of Troutdale? So one idea was to prepare a custom software application to run on the city website to perform monthly budgeting and make recommendation improvements for the benefit of the user. And to request budget authority at this year's budget meeting. Lively discussion on this. One of the discussions that we thought was some time constraints, because to get it submittal before for this year's budget was a very short time, and that was a constraint. And there was some discussion about how this would be implemented, and if we're going to ask for money, what would we do with it specifically, and how to focus on the needs of the most needy population. And that needed some additional clarification, I think. Idea two was to set up a training team to teach local citizens financial literacy. Issues that we discussed were who, where, when, and how, and this would be implemented. And this clearly needed some thought and planning. And also, where would we budget the costs? And then idea three was to advance the concept that there could never be less than 2 budget committee meetings to adopt a new fiscal year budget. A lot of lively discussion on this. One big issue was who would the recommendation go to? Because right now the council sets that agenda and going to them seems awkward. The optics was discussed on how the world would view our good intentions for making this recommendation, and that it might be perceived as being outside our scope. And so we thought we're coming back to the CAC as a whole to seek further insight and guidance. We could discuss these 3 ideas and pursue them further, or the committee could come up with new ideas, or do nothing. And that was my summary of the meeting.
David did a great job pulling everything together there, summarizing what we discussed and the conclusion or no conclusion, however you want to look at it. I do have a copy of what, after talking with some people, what I typed up as a potential recommendation to somebody about the budget process. And I'm happy to share it if you want to look at it. As David just mentioned, where would we send it, and would this be viewed as CAC, though we're the community, we're representing, issues or concerns or desires or needs. So anyhow, I'm happy to share with that if you want to take a look at it. Otherwise, we can talk more in general.
Kyle,
Yeah,
did you
well,
want to jump in?
Well, sure. Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, thank you both, David and Tim, for that. We'll get the, I think you said you wanted to go last, and then we'll open it up for general discussion.
Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? David, like Tim said, David did a really, really good job at synthesizing our conversation. The only other thing that I would add on to that is to the issue of scope and whether or not this is something that really truly does fall within the purview of the CAC. Would it be a potential option for the CAC to recommend to the council to have a specific committee on this? There are committees for lots of things. With this future of ours that we're facing, would it be worth it to ask the city to have a dedicated group of citizens talking about this, and as opposed to us talking about this? Yeah. So what do people think about all of the above?
I can talk first.
Go for it, Victoria.
All right. Having been on the budget committee for a while, that is what the budget committee's for. People, like I said, are allowed to come and speak at the budget committee about anything on the budget. I like the idea of the software, but there's so many free softwares already on the internet. I can't see that we should ask to purchase one and then put it on there, ask for money for that. We can put links on there. I mean, anybody who really wants to do a budget, and they can go on and just Google it, and there's tons of sites for free budget software. I do like the idea, and I think it was Heidi's at first, to have the classes. And I know some other communities, like I said, have the classes. It's been hard. I was trying to get in touch with the Oregon City one, but with the COVID thing, it never happened. But I'm sure we could do that and get it into our rec program. And I think that's more personable, more people become, when you just put a site on the website, nobody cares. I mean, like I said, there's zillions of them already. As for the budget, I mean, we're always can make suggestions about things and ask in city council if we have a good program that we want to get started, like we did with the garden, things like that. So I don't know. I don't think we need a whole nother committee. We have the budget committee. People are allowed to come anytime. And you can always go to the city council meetings too and talk about any concerns you have. I don't think we need more committees, but that's just my opinion, so.
And just to clarify, while I do also usually shudder at additional meetings and committees, I would just clarify that it wouldn't be so much about the idea of an additional committee being not so much about what the city is doing with its money, like the budget committee talks about. It's what coming up with programs or ideas of helping individual citizens with their money, as opposed to, or anything that involves people with what is going on in their lives, as opposed to what the city is doing with taxpayer dollars. I mean, and admittedly, when I say that, it almost sounds overly invasive, but is it a potential option?
I'm wondering, Amber, if anybody else knows any update on the Public Safety and Equity Committee, or however that one was going to be rolled out, where they're at with that, and whether or not that would be a good addition to what their tasks are doing.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything about it yet. I'm not sure how many meetings like the new city council has had since they've been elected, but I can check in to see if there's been any progress on that.
Okay, any other comments? Heidi.
Tim, what was the thing that you said that you would show us if we wanted?
I just wrote up a statement potentially that we could give to the budget committee or to the city council, just indicating some things to consider for future years looking back. I agree with Victoria in that it's good not to have, to try to, we don't want to increase the number of committees out there wandering around doing things. One of the challenges with finance is that this year, the budget committee only had one meeting, $55 million budget and one meeting with the committee before the budget was sent to the city council. And so that's just, is that appropriate? Is there something missing here? Do people, have opportunity to follow up with things if they do have a question? I'm happy to share the statement. I could just share on the screen if you'd like to look at it, but we don't have to either way.
Well, I think the reason we only had one meeting is there wasn't a lot of people being content, saying there wasn't hardly any public there this time. I've been at other meetings that we've been there 4 times for the budget, sometimes till like 11 and 12 o'clock at night. So, I mean, it happens. This just happened to go really smoothly this year. That was the only one I've ever been to that only went one night. So just to clarify that, it doesn't always happen that way.
Right, and in one perspective, Tim speaking again here, is when things go quickly like that, that can be a positive. If it doesn't give people enough time to to evaluate or to get back or to that could be a downside as well. Let me go ahead and pull this up if you're comfortable with it, and you guys can decide what we want to do, if anything, with it. You guys okay with that? Can you see this statement? All right. So it says, the city of Troutdale has been extremely fortunate to have had quality leadership and direction in its endeavors in recent years. Nevertheless, as citizens of Troutdale look back over this last year, there is at least one significant decision related to the finances of the city that causes many to question the effectiveness of our current processes. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Troutdale Budget Committee met only once to consider the upcoming budget and authorized an approximate 10% increase in the annual budget. In order to help assure continued confidence in our future financial planning, the City of Troutdale Citizen Advisory Committee, and we don't have to have our name in there, we don't, recommends that in the future, the city's budget committee meet on at least 2 separate occasions when considering the upcoming annual budget before recommendation is made to this Troutdale City Council. It is believed that this small but significant change will help maintain the public's continued assurance that our city remains fiscally responsible and committed to the continuous maintenance of these practices and principles. Any questions or comments?
Well, I guess my question is what is the purpose of the budget committee and how much, like, what is its role in terms of making suggestions to the city manager?
Well, that's kind of the whole point. Is this just supposed to be a rubber stamp of whatever management says we should do, or are citizens really to be actively involved in looking at things, analyzing, and making suggestions or asking for follow-up?
Well, and to your point about increasing public engagement by having meetings on more than one occasion so that people can process information and then come back with suggestions. I recognize that I have not attended a budget meeting, and I don't, Victoria, I was trying to understand what, you were saying that things went really smoothly and so you only had one meeting, and I mean, that makes sense in a certain way, but like, how does the budget committee seek public comment and
We have,
input?
yeah, the budget's posted online, the proposed budget. There's also copies down at the city hall. People can go and look at them. If they have a problem with anything, they can come in and speak their mind. We have sort of little mini debates on even what the people have said and even on how we feel. One of us might not feel like, oh no, you shouldn't hire another person this year. We don't think so, and we might debate it. And then the city manager and the other people tell us why that's needed. And then we'll talk about it some more. That it's sort of a back and forth. I mean, a lot of it is just budget things, office supplies and PERS. I mean, things and the fire department, the police department, things we can't do so much as with they're contracted out. I mean, unless their contract's coming up, and then we can talk about it. But usually they're like 10-year contracts. So, but anything, the dog park, there's a good example. People will come in. They, like I said, this year was an off year because of the COVID and everything. But other years they've come in and told us why they want a dog park, why we should keep it in the budget. And we had it in the budget a couple of years and it never got done, and it got taken out last year, but I think it's getting put back in this year. So, but people will come and tell us things about that. That's just one example I can think of. The parking lot, when we were going to pave it, does somebody have a problem with us paving it? It's a contract too much that we signed up for, that type of thing. But yeah, the budget's all out there. Now, it doesn't get out there really fast. I mean, usually it's out the end of March, and then we have our meetings the middle of April. And it's quite a bit to go through, but it's available for anybody who wants to see it. So, and then they can come and
It sounds to me like there's a lot of work that happens outside of the meeting. Is that right?
Yeah, we go over the whole budget.
Most of
How
it,
do you go over it?
They deliver it to our houses, anybody on the budget committee, and then we go over it line by line. And then if we have any questions, then we bring it up at the meeting.
so most of the
There's
work
a lot of
outside, just as you were suggesting, Heidi. And that's one of the challenges, is that at least this year, there wasn't a whole lot of work for the group in terms of looking at things and discussing. And now on one side, you want people to look at things in detail, spend time so that you don't have to waste a lot of time in a meeting. At the same time, there needs to be enough time so that the issues can be addressed adequately.
I do have one piece of feedback on the language in your letter, Tim, that the part where it says meet at least twice before, I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact text. That jumped out at me because I think that somebody could argue that the committee does meet twice before they adopt the budget. If you could consider the December meeting the first meeting, and if there's only one in April, the second meeting. I think if you were to move this forward, I guess I would suggest putting in like meeting at least twice after the committee members have received a copy, or something more eloquent than that.
Good advice. Thank you. Yeah.
It might also be, as further justification for 2 meetings, provide a second opportunity for additional public who were unable to make the first meeting to appear and voice any concerns at a second meeting. So it just gives the public just a little bit more flexibility in attending, especially if it's announced that there are 2 meetings open to the public, upcoming meetings to discuss budget, and that's announced and maybe even published in the Champion or something.
That's a really good idea, Shelley. At least like alerting people to that the documents are available on the website, and if they want to review the budget, like the 5 of us who are like interested in such things, like they could go on the website and then have a way to like give feedback before and not have to attend that one meeting. Like if there's a public comment section on the website, maybe that exists. I don't know.
It's Victoria again. If you're really interested in the budget, he always makes fun of it. They make fun of this class, but there's classes that you can take through the state of Oregon, and it's called your local budget. You can usually go one day in person, and it's all day. They're doing them separately online this year. And if you don't want to go through that, because it's pretty much just going over, there's tons of material you can get on how your local budget works. And it's dry reading. If you thought the other one was dry, this is really dry, but it'll tell you everything about it and things you can do. So just thought I'd throw that out there. It's on Oregon.gov local budget.
And sorry, now that I keep this Kyle again, now that I am thinking more about the feedback that I gave Tim, maybe even actually tweaking it a little further, just because the city, and I've only been part of the budget committee for 2 years, but each year, to include this year, there's it's on my calendar, they schedule 2 meetings in April. And so I guess if you were to have explicit language, it would be maybe maintain both meetings, because as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, Victoria, but I remember last year, or as I recall last year, we were able to get it all done in one night, and there wasn't a need for a second meeting.
Yeah, we had them both scheduled, but we ended up doing it in one night.
I mean, I think the real question here is like, how much public feedback does a city budget really require. I mean, this is specialized information, like this is specialized knowledge. Like I don't want my plumber telling me how to do the electric on my house, and I don't want you know, a waitress telling me how to do the city budget. Like I'm not trying to be elitist here, but I think it is a specialized knowledge set, and I don't know how much public engagement is really appropriate for defining a city's, like you said, multi-million-dollar budget.
Well, like I said, the public usually speaks on things like the dog park or things that we're adding, not on just the basics. Because there's, like I said, pretty much there's nothing you can do about certain things, the PERS and all that you can't do anything about. But if we were having a big project that somebody had proposed and they were going to put it in the budget and half of the city was against it, then you might get a lot of people in there to say, no, we don't want this. We don't think this should be in the budget. Those are the types of things you'd be coming, you know, like if we said we were going to have a $10 million dog park, you know, I mean, wow, they'd have diamond collars. But that, you know what I mean? Something, you know, people might want to debate.
So when I had the opportunity to speak with Kyle, being on the budget committee there, and more to expand upon what Victoria's saying about the limited amount of things that they're really able to work on. Kyle had explained to me that the majority of the budget is under contract and there's no way you can change the contract. Those are fixed costs. That is the biggest chunk of it. And there's a small percentage or a smaller portion of things that are more like, you know, other things that they spend the money on. Tim, I want to thank you for putting that together. I think it's very well written. I would say that, you know, anytime the city passes an ordinance or changes a code or something, they have an initial reading and then they have a passing of it on the second time, just for laws, public meeting laws. And I can see the extension of asking for that just out of the courtesy, like, hey, let's meet once, we'll get out of the way. If we show up the next meeting in a week and there's nobody there and we're just open the meeting, voting, closing it. I mean, I get that, because when Tim says in that statement, raised by 10% during a COVID year on a $55 million budget and in one meeting, like that's very exciting. It's very inflammatory. It's very, you know, get you thinking like, whoa, that's crazy. So maybe just to have those sort of headline or those tweet sort of things happen, that maybe we do kind of go with that. For me, I don't know enough about the things that were the 10% that caused the increase. I would be comfortable with a vote towards suggesting, you know, that we recommend that the budget committee does that, just to stay congruent with everything else that gets passed in the city. However, I don't know if I'd be comfortable at this point, with the limited research and my ignorance to have some of that more of opinionated language in the statement. Just kind of my thought about it, and I'll open it back up.
And I'm on the budget committee, so you know, I'm not sure what's happening with the change of terms and such. So you know, this is something I could potentially bring in the December meeting if I'm still on then, but and let them know. But just so you know, my understanding is that this year a new contract, employment contract, is due for much of the city. And so, you know, this may be a year where extra attention is needed. You know, is it just going to be city management and attorneys who look at this, or is there any, is it appropriate for citizenry, especially members of a budget committee, to have some, you know, oversight or you know, knowledge about what goes on with this? Is this secret stuff, or you know, should someone else, you know, have purview to some of that information?
Oh, they'll explain everything. They'll explain if they're going to give somebody a raise, They'll explain all the PERS. They explain everything in that contract. I mean, and if you think the raises are too high, you are allowed to say something. So.
To that point, I kind of wish Diane was here because she would have more in-depth information and regarding kind of how the transition to Multnomah County Sheriff from Troutdale went. And that was kind of a mess, if I recall. And it was done in one meeting sort of thing, kind of like Tim is talking about. And like, there was this whole backstory. Diane would have it. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn on it, but I wish she was here to speak to
Well, that was a whole nother
that.
thing. And those people aren't here.
And that's the whole point of bringing this stuff up is let's, try to avoid something like that again. Is the whole idea.
Well,
Okay.
I agree that like citizenry needs to have a voice, 100%. I just, and there is going to be some things that aren't under contract, and that is important to look at. So I guess those of us who are paying attention need to make sure we read the budget. Okay, fine, Tim, I'll read the budget.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
So we seem to have been on the number 3 of David's 1, 2, 3. Maybe we could come to a conclusion here on this particular one. And if so, is there anything that any action that we want to take tonight, or do we want to continue this discussion along with the other 2? David? Sorry, I thought I saw you.
I'm sorry, what were you asking me again?
Oh, I thought I saw your bar light up and your hand raised, so I thought you had a question or had a statement.
Sorry,
my
no.
bad. Okay.
I'm just fidgeting.
Any other thoughts or comments on this particular one regarding the 2 meetings or more than 1 meeting?
Are we going to vote on it? Is that the idea?
That's up to the group. And if somebody wants to advance something, then we can. If we want to move to another topic or leave that alone for now, we can always circle back. So I'm going to leave that to you guys to decide what we're going to do tonight.
And I can rewrite those things Kyle suggested if we want, or we can, not deal with it, and I can try to deal with it in the budget committee itself. The challenge is the budget committee meets so rarely, right? How do you make suggestions like that?
Well, Tim, if I can address you directly, I mean, I'm uncomfortable with the more inflammatory language, and I am not a fan of austerity, so I tend to be pro big budgets. So I'm like, yes, spend the money. So if we could just say like increase public awareness of budget, like some kind of way to like increase public engagement with our city budget, like I'm for that, but as it stands, I'm a little iffy on it.
We could leave out the specific 10%, that kind of thing.
I would be okay with that too. And I'm actually completely opposite. I would say save as much money as we can and spend as little as we can. However, I don't know enough about the budget to be okay with supporting some of those statements. If it's just something like, hey, we want to have 2 meetings, everything else that gets passed gets at least 2 meetings, 1 reading and then one voting. Let's stay consistent. I'd be okay with something like that. To take advantage.
Let me work on it a little bit.
And I can talk to Tanny about this too. I mean, he's the committee chair. I'm the whatever it's called, co-chair, whatever.
And if you get Tanny on board, it'll probably get fixed. So Tim, you might want to talk with Tanny. But then let's go to David.
Let me make sure my mic is up. Okay. I'd like to make a recommendation. I'm not opposed to the concept or that the budget meetings be further defined. but I'd like the recommendation to go to the budget committee itself. Because what I'm hearing is everybody's unsure of their role in the budget committee. And it sounds like the budget committee needs a lesson in asking questions and setting the rules for how they're going to operate. And it's up to the citizen part of that committee to have a spine and make things happen. Because if they all disagree together, the budget won't pass. And so I think it's up to the budget committee to improve. That's my opinion.
Alexander.
I agree with that, David, and I think that what you're saying is to raise the transparency. So it's crystal clear what's happening, give everybody a chance to internalize what's happening, and make that transparency accessible to all. And everybody will feel like they have a voice, even if they don't have anything to say, if they know what's going on.
Thank you all. It's all very helpful. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, you have 3 budget committee people on this committee. So. You've just given it to 3 of them.
Okay. Comments on the other 2, monthly budgeting app on city website, a training team for financial literacy. I like, I was wondering, kind of along with what Victoria was mentioning earlier, is what are the existing resources that are available that we can point people in the direction of? And I do like the idea of people being involved, like once COVID's over, people can get involved and get in a room together and work on things. Even though those things are readily available for free on the internet, getting people to interact and use them, it doesn't work unless there's somebody championing that sort of cause. I look at some of the other ones I see out there, and that one that I've always appreciated was Dave Ramsey and his sort of things that he's doing. And I don't know if we could use that, but he has a huge following of people and sells a ton of books and programs and whatnot to people who want to get out of debt and want to actively work on it. He's got a huge radio show, and people call in, and they call in and are excited when they get out of debt and pay off all their debt. And so I know there's a huge number of people out there that are wanting to work on this and wanting to do it, but they need somebody to kind of help lead them and guide them and take them down that path. And I think we've seen, like, who was it, Susie Orman, where people would call in and say, "Hey, can I afford this boat?" And they'd tell her, all their stuff, and she'd be given a yes or a no sort of thing, So I know there's people that want that advice and want it. I think what we should do is, kind of a mix of what existing resources are out there, and then potentially, I think it was Victoria that also said in the recreation, like rec program, if we might be able to somehow budget somebody in there to help people with budgeting and create these, how to cook on a budget classes, or, home finances 101, or, how to pay off debt, or let me come in and ask a professional, or ask somebody of all your money questions, or, I don't know. But let's go ahead and open up for comment and get you guys chatting about it too.
I think Dave Ramsey charges.
He does, and it's also, I believe, faith-based. I don't know if we can recommend that through the government and through the city website or whatnot, but I was just using that as more of a generalized idea that there's somebody out there. Yeah, it's great advice and great information. And actually, after like the 2008, crash and everything, and I lost everything and whatnot, I hated that feeling of having that burden of debt and having to make that monthly nut. And it was the stress that I never wanted to go back to. And I heard his show and started listening, and it's been great for me. So I'm not necessarily saying we suggest him, but my more important suggestion is that there's the guy has a huge radio show and on every day, and there's tons of people that call in. I know he's got You know, that if those people that were looking for that sort of thing weren't out there, he wouldn't have that following. So question more being, how do we get somebody to help guide and do more of a leader, take on that leadership role to help people want to use these existing resources that we can show them towards, I suppose, is where I was going with that particular one.
Okay, so first we need a community center. And then we can offer literacy classes at the community center. Dave's like, no. I'm like, yeah.
We have a community center.
Victoria, are you talking about the sheriff's office? Because that is not a community center.
It's that little building that's off the
Behind it.
sheriff's.
Does anything happen in that building?
Yeah, they've had art classes and karate classes and
Okay.
yoga.
Okay.
And we used to have our meetings there.
All right. Well, I know you showed it to me that time. I just forgot about it, even though you showed me. I'm sorry. But all right. All right. I'll go there back when we can go into places. But yeah, well, okay. So we have the building. So could we, I mean, is that something we could offer through Parks and Rec?
Well, yeah, we'd have to, what's her name? I forgot her name. She's so nice. Maggie. Yeah, we could ask her if we can do something like that. Because she's the one that's in charge of that.
So I just tried to go on the website. If I look space, it's because I was looking at the website. And it's really, I find it challenging to see what things are available. And it seems to me, Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have to download the recreation guide as a PDF in order to see what's happening?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look on the website myself to know.
I mean, that would be one thing, is if it was easily, like, downloading is definitely a burden. Like if you can search for classes that are available would be very helpful.
Don't you get it in the mail? I get one every month in the mail. I'm not every month, every quarter.
Supposed to keep on, hold on to something for a whole quarter?
We get
That's
Alexander says we get them, but I think it's already lost.
So attorneys have to do, well, they don't have to, but they're supposed to do pro bono work to keep their licenses, right? For example, one of the attorneys that I work for does or did pre-COVID little workshops at the library where he talked about estate planning and helped people figure out what they might need and where they could go and what kind of costs they were looking at and the best way to approach it. And I'm not sure that that isn't true for accountants, teachers, financial advisors, and all of the above, that pro bono work like that isn't part of the licensing process. And it might be helpful to just throw it out there and say, anybody wanting to do a pro bono workshop, we're happy to throw up a CLE certificate so you can add it to your credits. And
Kyle, didn't we look into this? Didn't we find out that there aren't any certified financial planners in Troutdale, except, and because that one lady that came and talked to us is certified in Texas but not in Oregon. So, and then Mount Hood does offer some classes in night school, and we did call the library, Shelley, to see if they would do it, and they were like, yeah, but then COVID. So
yeah, that was kind of what drove our conversation about the app initially when David, Tim, and I were talking. Is that I mean, I am also an advocate for in-person over electronic or over screen whenever possible. People are just better learners that way. Plus, you can just take away more when someone is teaching you as opposed to you pushing buttons. Although I don't know if that's scientifically true, but it feels that way. With everything going on with COVID, what is the capability of actually doing anything in person anytime soon? And like, I mean, I love the classes idea. I love the estate planning idea, but which class do we pick? Is it estate planning? Is it college planning? Is it retirement planning? Is it, I mean, and I'm sure all of them would be utilized widely. But I mean, getting the, not that doing an app also wouldn't be time consuming. And we also talked about how, you know, yes, there are a lot of apps out there that do budgeting for you, a lot of websites that do budgeting for you, but they all stop at a point where you have to pay to get the real bang for its perspective or its relative buck. And if the city was able to contract to someone to build something that gave you that full bang for free and allowed people to harness a full power of an actual budgeting app, I don't know what the legalities are around providing a service that most other people would charge for free. I don't know if there would be any issues with doing that. And similarly, I imagine there would be a lot of issue with government saying, and I know you're using him as an example, Will, but having government say, you know, hey, you guys should watch Dave Ramsey, or you should listen to Susie, forget her last name, or whomever, because at that point we're recommending one private group over another private group. And I would imagine that's something that we're not allowed to do, at least something I'm not allowed to do at the county. I imagine the city isn't going to be allowed to do that either. And so that was another idea of, or another reason for, potentially a reason for an app, or potentially a reason to, when we're able to do in-person classes, to try to design them on our own. Well, not design them on our own, but find people on our own, and not, you know, companies that actually do this for a living. Like an example that I gave in our conversation was that the county offers financial literacy courses as a part of a whole financial, or a whole wellness, human holistic wellness type of thing. There's medical stuff, there's financial stuff, there's other stuff. And the county contracts with a financial literacy company to come in, well, used to come in, but now it's all online classes, and there's, you know, it's Zoom, so you can type in questions and a little bit of back and forth. But something like that is what, you know, and kind of an example of what the city could do. I have no idea how much they are, and I don't even know if there would be enough meat there, so to speak, for them to come and give classes to the public. But I mean, there's all kinds of different options for us. I guess it's just a question of, in the current setting, cost, and who's going to use it.
Thank you, Colin. Sorry, I didn't mean necessarily like when I mentioned a specific or a leader or whatnot. I meant more having somebody that they can ask questions to, like somebody leading the group, or not necessarily a financial guru that we're trying to install in Troutdale. Just somebody in the group who they answer the questions and lead the meetings, and, you know, that team sort of thing that you guys were talking about.
Yeah, kind of continuing in the same tone. One of the things that we were talking about is how if we want to help those who need the help the most, it's got to be something that is easy to access. It's got to be something that, you know, spending hours in the evening going to a conference is, you know, there's a chance that many of those people are not going to be willing or able to do that. It'd be great if they would. It might be, you know, additional and help, and so we could certainly provide something if we had the personnel and the funds to do that. But how can we make this as easy as possible for people who need it to get it?
Has anyone, Kyle, have you ever used, I was just looking up real quick, Mint app? Has anyone used that, and how good is that?
We use it.
What are your thoughts on it? Is that something you'd recommend?
Alexander, I use Credit Karma.
Well, I use both Credit Karma and Mint, and Mint, I like. It's an Intuit product. It's free. It works. It tells you where all your money is and what you're spending and how you're spending it, and how depressed you should be.
And Alexander, how is that funded? Do you know? Is it through advertisement, or how do they stay in business?
Yeah, they have advertisements. Credit Karma especially. They're counseling you on how to resolve your credit issues. At the same time, they're trying to sell you credit cards with 26% interest. So I think that's pretty funny to me. But Mint has less advertising embedded. It's not in my way. But Credit Karma is funny with their advertising. But I use both of them in tandem, and they seem to work. It's given me a very clear picture of where my money goes and how to budget. And I'm
Thank you for
very
that
bad
feedback.
at it.
Okay, any other thoughts or comments?
We
Or would
have
you
to,
like,
but sorry.
go ahead, Heidi.
Well, I just have no idea how much something like that would cost. Is that something where we would, like, how does that work?
When you say that, what is the that?
I'm assuming she meant building the app.
Oh, I mean,
She's muted.
really depends on what it does. I mean, it can be. You know what? I don't want to say because I'm definitely going to misquote a number. But I mean, it really depends on its capability.
I mean, it'd be super cool. I don't know how many people would use it. I don't know what the traffic on the city website is like, you know? We'd have to advertise it really well to get our money's worth.
Good pun.
Okay, comments, questions? Anybody want to, is there any direction we need to take or we want to take right now on this? I suppose also maybe we should wait to hear, kind of see what's going on with the public safety and equity, and that may be something that we potentially formulate a package to kind of punt over to those guys and make a recommendation that they take this on, and you know, that could potentially be an option too.
You know, it strikes me that at the very least, short-term, cheaper option would be if there are individuals like Shelley had suggested that are able to do work pro bono, individually, one-on-one. We have probably a lot of time before we're back to doing anything in person. We could start maybe designing and setting something up, what classes we would theoretically that we think people would want to take, finding experts that might match those topics, and then I don't know, liaisoning with whoever we need to liaison at the city and figuring out how we might get, you know, instructor into whatever designated spot and getting it advertised. I mean, we have plenty of time to do that if we want to make an action item out of any of the above, on top of Tim's letter, of course.
Skillshare database. Yes.
A what now?
Skillshare database. Yes.
That sounds like something that
What, David? What?
I don't know what that is.
Well, like, so you have a financial expert who needs pro bono hours, and they need to like offer that. Then we help connect that person with the people who need financial help, and we could limit it to just that, or we could, you know, someone who's really good at cooking for a lot of people for cheap could offer that. You know, I'm just thinking of like all the different things that people have as their skill set. You could share that, and if we could create a way that we could facilitate that sharing, that would be cool.
To match the person who can do it with the one who needs.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that yet, but I could learn how.
Okay. So with you know, with topics and projects sometimes that we come through with this, we need some people who are passionate about the project to really kind of take the lead and run with it. And I want to thank David, Tim, and Kyle for at least getting us this far into the discussion. And I suppose without anything here that we're seeming like wanting to take action on right now, if there's people, maybe you three or others that want to join forces to kind of keep pushing this down the road, I would highly recommend that. Otherwise, then we end up making a recommendation then to council or to another group to that we feel that this is important and we'd like these particular things to be, you know, looked at and worked on by a new committee or under a certain committee or part of the public safety committee that's coming up. So any other thoughts or comments on this one, you guys?
I will do some research in my department and see if I can make any headway on this.
Thank you, Heidi. Okay, any other thoughts or comments at all on that? If not, we'll move along to staff communications. Okay, let's go ahead and open it up to Amber.
Alrighty, so first to start off with, Arini is back from maternity leave, which is great. We're very happy to have her back. Her baby is adorable. But I will be continuing on as the CAC staff liaison. Maybe she'll join us here and there. We'll see. But for now, you guys are stuck with me. Sorry. Hopefully, I haven't been too bad to deal with. Other than that, the Planning Commission completed their review of the draft Town Center plan. So now we'll be returning to the Town Center Committee for feedback. And if you're interested in looking at the draft, it is on the city website. So it is available to view, and there shouldn't be a lot of changes to it or anything major before the Town Center Committee reviews it again. And the request for proposals for the Parks Master Plan has gone out. So we're really excited to have that project moving forward and to get started working on it. So that's happening. And as you guys saw in the email, right now our department office is closed to the public due to the COVID exposure. So we are all working from home. We're available via email or phone if anyone needs to reach our department for any reason. We're still all working and reachable. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that as well. Other than that, that's it. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Amber. I did actually, you mentioned Planning Commission, and I forgot to bring this up earlier. With the rent burdening, did they have any additional discussion regarding the meeting or the survey, or did they even bring that up in their last meeting, or was it all town center based?
It was all town center based. So we actually haven't even brought those minutes to them yet because of the way the timing worked out. We didn't have them. You all hadn't finished reviewing them before we would have needed to send the packet out for their next meeting. And so they probably won't review the minutes for that until probably their March meeting, actually, because their February one is a special meeting with 3 cities on a separate project. So yeah, we haven't had any follow up with them yet on the rent burden meeting.
Would you do us a favor and let us know what that conversation's like, or maybe remind us again in first part of March when that meeting's happening, so maybe we might be able to attend, and then also maybe a recap, kind of what their discussion was, or maybe if one of us attends to then bring that information back to the following meeting. Seems like at least we were kind of stumped about the whole lack of participation. And I'm wondering what their perspective on it will be as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll make sure to do that.
Any other questions or comments for Amber? Okay, let's do committee member comments. I believe Heidi, you had something you wanted to share. Let's go ahead and start with you.
So something that I thought that we should all A, be aware of if we aren't yet, and B, to do some thinking about before our next meeting is something I'm very personally excited about, which is the new Home Forward affordable housing project that's has been accepted. It's going to be right by where we usually meet by the sheriff's office. And I don't know if everybody knows about it yet, but I actually didn't know that it had for sure been approved until today, even though it was approved in December, but I didn't see it. So and one thing that we should think about is so the county deeded the land to Home Forward to build the complex, which is going to build about 100 units of affordable housing. But the city owns a little parcel that's right next to the county parcel. And that's a decision that the city has to make in terms of whether or not to sell or make sure that, I don't know the specifics, but see if that land will go towards the affordable housing complex or not. And I would love it if we could have a talk about how to integrate the affordable housing complex into our community so that it's not an isolated, like an island, and how can we bring it in? And I don't know how much control we would have over design, but maybe if the CAC had opinions on that, we could at least share them with the city and the county. And I know that they're hoping to have a community room and some cool services at the affordable housing complex, which is going to be family oriented, like a playground. That's the other main thing, is a playground in a community room. So that's cool. But like, are they going to have a garden, and are they going to have any place where will normal or not people who live in the complex be able to go to the community room? Stuff like that. Like how do we make sure that it's integrated and welcome in our community? And then what does the city do with that adjoining piece of land? And is it part of that? So so that's my main thing that I wanted to mention. Also, this morning I went to a training webinar thing that the city, that the Metro posted, and it was about how to combat social isolation in these times. And there were they offered a lot of resources, and there's an entire office of the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability for the city of Portland that I didn't know about, which doesn't take much because there's about 1,000 offices, I think. But damn it, I had it right here, and I was gonna tell you what it said, and now I can't. I have too many tabs open, I can't see it. Anyway, one of the things that they offer is that they can come do a training with a community on public safety and how to be disaster resilient. And I don't know a lot of details yet, but I thought I would ask you all if that's something that we would be interested in entertaining, like having somebody from the county come and talk to us about how can we increase or better our relationships with our neighbors so that we can be better equipped to take care of each other, and also, if there's a disaster, what's our plan? So is that something anybody would be interested in me following up on?
Heidi, Tim here. Appreciate you bringing all that up. I think, and I was thinking about this not only as you were talking, but earlier when Kyle was talking, the more we can connect with services that already exist somewhere, boy, the better off for everybody. I mean, they've created these programs. Let's benefit, not, recreate something. So I think that's, a good idea.
I agree. I think it would be great to know more.
Sorry, Alexander, I've been having trouble hearing your microphone tonight. Can you repeat that, please?
I would like to know more. Yes, that would be great.
Yes, I as well, Heidi. Thank you. Question, I would also be interested in finding out more as it progresses down the road as far as Home Forward. Maybe that could be potentially part of Amber's communication, just kind of keeping us updated on what's going on, and if there's anything new that comes out, to share that information with us, and opportunities to become involved and comment for us is kind of a side note. Thank you, Heidi, for bringing that up.
And I just wanted to offer to the group, there's, I mean, Home Forward has a lot of sites across the county. And I mean, if you guys are all at all interested, check out their website, and they have plenty of pictures of their existing facilities, and even some of their newer facilities. When I was in my previous work at the county, we were at a couple of openings, and I saw I don't know if it's the newest one, but the one in Hillsdale. It's beautiful. I mean, it's got a great community center complex that the county uses for community events. Wonderful playground that's open to the public. I mean, it doesn't answer your question, but it might give you an idea of what kind of facility they might set up.
Yeah, and I actually found it because I went on the We Love Troutdale Facebook page today, and all of the comments were super negative about it. It's like, oh, we're gonna have a housing complex here, blah blah blah. So I know people have a lot of fear about affordable housing, and I thought that maybe something that would be good for us to do is to do a little research into it, and maybe be able to, when people ask us about it, we can allay some of those fears, and also, have community input into what that is going to look like in our town. And I know that some of you probably have some negative feelings about affordable housing complexes, but I think the more we know, the better.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that. Let me see here. Oh, let me go back to Amber. Sorry, staff communication. Was there any feedback at all from our invite to the new mayor and the councilors, and kind of where's that at? And
Yeah, so I reached out to our city recorder to see like how to get that invite out to them, and she forwarded it along to the city manager. I'm not sure where it went from there. I checked in with her and she hadn't heard anything more. So I'm not sure if the invitation made it to them, if it did and they weren't able to make it. So I'll continue to follow up, because I know you all were really hoping that they'd be able to make it to a meeting. So I'll continue to work on that.
thank you. When did you make that request? Was that like right after our meeting, or was that?
Yeah, it was pretty soon after the most recent meeting.
Okay. Let's see here. Maybe, do you have a direct line with Ray directly? That way you're not kind of playing the whole telephone game. Or maybe we could even just, I'll get on, you know what, I'll get on the city website and get the email all councilors and mayors, and just make that request from myself. That way I know that it was sent to them directly. So I'll handle that, and we'll see what happens. And again, if we don't have a lot of meat in March, we can table that to when our next meeting is. Okay, let's go up to Shelley there.
Just so you know, Amber, you really are very much appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know we send out a lot of thank yous during the course of our meetings, but we should thank you every week. You're always there. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks.
Also, I don't know, all of you probably know that the city council meetings are broadcast for my cable, it's channel 330 for HD. And it's nice because we have an agenda kind of looking for items at this time. If you have an opportunity to kind of view the council meetings and watch them on TV, just jot a couple of notes when they're talking about stuff that you think would be interesting to tackle. Some of the meetings are not too exciting, but some of them are.
Excellent. Thank you, Shelley. Good tip there. All right, David.
Hi. I have nothing for the group. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go over to Tim.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I am really enjoying our times together here, and we don't always agree on everything, but we find positive and supportive ways to help each other see things from different perspectives. It just personally means a lot. So thank you. Keep up the good work. And City of Troutdale's in good hands with people like all of us, you know, doing our part. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. Kyle.
How can I follow that? I have actually have a question for everybody. Today Ray has continued to send me the sheriff's office calls for service numbers ever since I did that last data aggregation for you all, and I decided to do them in 6-month increments. So I just actually this evening sent him the latest. So if you all are interested, I can forward it off. But it's basically the same information, just with the last 6 months of 2020, the year that shall not be named. So yeah, I can forward that off to everyone. Other than that, happy Valentine's Day, y'all.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, definitely please include at least me, or go ahead and send it to the group. I think that's really interesting. I think it'll be interesting also, you know, you being the data guy, to give us a pre-COVID, post-COVID, like what does this world look like from the police perspective, and you know, this crazy year that we had. So thank you for doing that. Chris.
So one thing I did have is I was wondering if, what's on Stark Street, there's that outlet there where there's like Home Depot and Taco Bell and Burger King there. And I feel like maybe we need wondering if it's possible to have someone like direct traffic there, because there are times like just today I went to Taco Bell and they were really busy, and that caused a bit of a traffic backup. Like I pulled in off of Stark and I was sitting right there and I sat for a minute because I thought maybe the line would move real quick and I could just buzz over and get in line. But then when it didn't, I decided to go up the aisle and around to get in line that way. And as I started to move, someone came from behind me and I nearly got in a wreck there. And I mean, Taco Bell can't control the amount of people there at one time. And since you can't just go in freely necessarily, and I know we can't just magically remove COVID precautions, so I feel like we need something else there.
Chris, are you talking about right in front of Home Depot?
Yeah, it's like you got Home Depot in the back of the lot, and like right when you pull in, on the left is Taco Bell and the right's Burger King.
Yeah, it's not really well designed there. It's a major entrance and it's pretty narrow. I've thought about that almost every time I pull in there. It's just interesting.
I mean, I've had fears of it before today happened, and I mean.
All right, thank you, Chris.
And I also on the side note, I wanted to say sorry about the Jeopardy thing earlier. I didn't think I was unmuted, but I guess I was. Anyway.
All right, thank you. Alexander.
I don't have anything more. I really appreciated this night. I thought it was a good session, and hoping that we can find ways to keep moving forward. We all have that in mind.
I'm sorry, I didn't hardly catch any of that.
Sorry, I don't know why my mic is so bad. It's I don't have anything to add. I just think that we're trying to move forward, all of us, and I hope that we can keep doing that. I'll figure out my mic thing next week.
Thank you, Alexander.
I mean, next month.
Victoria.
I'm with Shelley. We're happy to have you, Amber. And thanks, Kyle, for getting the sheriff's department's figures together, and Heidi for getting things for the finance. Thank you all. It's a good conversation tonight.
Thanks, Victoria.
Second that, and then also wanted to add, thank Kyle, David, and Tim for taking time out of their schedule to get together and meet and bring us that information. I definitely am in favor of trying to implement some of these. I would also, my question is how do we do it? And I think maybe, you know, again, we need somebody that's passionate about it, really take it and run with it. Otherwise, we're a committee that says, hey, we think this is important, and then we're wanting you guys to make this important to you as well. And I just don't know how to navigate that. And again, I appreciate people who do take time out of their busy schedules and days to work on the things that they're passionate about. So thank you all again who are doing the work outside the meetings too. Always great to see everybody. And if we don't have anything else, let's go ahead and adjourn for the night. All right, meeting adjourned.
Night, everybody.
Don't we need a vote to adjourn? Or am I wrong about that?
So good question. Yeah, I thought we used to do that, and I think technically for like the Robert's rules, we might need to do that. Tanny runs a lot of committee meetings, and he kind of does the whole like, hey, are we good? All right, meeting adjourned. So I was just kind of following his cue as the way to do it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but maybe that could be another thing that we research for the next meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Alexander. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.